working now. Oh, this is good stuff. It's Mike Matthews here. I'm personality.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
I'm personality man. And I'm here doing my podcast today. Mike's Daily Podcast. It's going to be a little bit different than yesterday. I had some thoughts and things about what I need to say, and one of them is that I don't want to get into an argument with you and Brett, because Brett doesn't want to argue, and you don't want to argue. What Brett are we talking about?
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Are we talking about Brett Favre? I don't know. Cafe, I don't know. Cafe, anyway. It's Mike and
Mike's
I want to thank you.
Daily
It's great
Podcast
to tell you.
Yeah.
I am unfortunately one of those people that emails people on the weekend pertaining to work. It's not, you know what? If you get an email from someone during the weekend, don't answer. Do not respond. It's just not necessary. I would suggest that to you and to everyone else. But I also want to say that, because this is my podcast and I say things. What is the topic, Mike? What is the iTunes category in which your podcast sits? Well, I say comedy, but I don't think that really pertains. It's not really music. It's a little bit of storytelling, a little bit of maybe educational. I am hoping we are learning together with some stuff. Maybe it has to do with your life, your mental health, your health, and things in general. I guess all things Mike is what this is. So if you want to enjoy that with me, please. But I was talking to somebody today about Queen Elizabeth, and he's conservative. He leans conservative.
And here's today's podcast picture.
Ooh, a lovely picture from Pleasanton. And we are podcasting from Podcastro Valleyton Cafe, anyway, the last place on earth. See that picture at MikesDailyPodcast.com. This conservative friend of mine said, you know, Mike, I agree to some extent that people shouldn't put down the Queen, but you know what? There's a lot of stuff related to her that I don't agree with, and peoples in other lands that were done wrong by her, was basically his argument. And the late great Basil the Boxer, he didn't really care about the Queen either way, but he did really enjoy Costco chicken, Costco rotisserie chicken. He loved it. The late great Basil the Boxer. So yes, I guess in some respects I understand, because I was starting out with the whole, well, you know, a lot of millennials and Gen Zers, they don't like the Queen, but now I'm starting to realize a lot of Americans don't like the Queen. They like the band Queen, but Americans in general, hey, we kicked you out to begin with. Once upon a time, you were a king. There was a king, King George, that we kicked out. So I guess I understand, but let's just not even talk about that. Let's talk about no booze.
Right? Good.
A no boo pass. I just heard about this today. A no boo pass is what it is, if I may explain it in a way, is to, as I'm trying to get into Twitter, I apologize to all of you who hate Twitter now. Twitter's going through some bad times, but you know what? They're going to stick around. They're not going away anytime soon. And I don't follow Twitter constantly, but they got me. They got me with these emails that they send to me. And they go, hey, here's some of the stuff. And when people send me emails, I read them. MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com. So in that respect, I've been hooked by them. But I am on Twitter. My Twitter handle is @MikeTalks. If you'd like to contact me and say hi or tweet something to me or whatever, I will probably talk about it on the podcast in the segment called Calm and Not So Comments, is what we've called it before. Okay, but no boo passes. Apparently, if you go to SeaWorld, they call it Hallow Scream. Universal Studios, they call it Halloween Horror Nights. At Disneyland, it's called... it's something that having to do with the Nightmare Before Christmas. Disney's Mickey's Scare Bootacular or something like that. But if you go to SeaWorld or any of the SeaWorld parks in America, San Diego, I think there's one in Orlando. If you go to any of those and you go... what's the Busch Gardens one? I have to look that up. But if you go on any of those haunts at SeaWorld, at this time of year, they got all the spooky rides. What they do is they close down these amusement parks early. So the amusement parks are brilliant. They're cutting off people about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Oh, you got to get here early. You got here at noon. You got 5 hours to enjoy. Oh, you waited 5 hours on one ride? In one line for one ride, one queue? Well, you're that's it. Bye. Get out. Which I don't even know how. There must be some science to how they clear these parks out. That is amazing to me, how they can do it. Get out. Leave. Oh, the happiest place on earth. Get out. Leave. Don't let the turnstile hit you on the tuchus on the way out. And that's what they do. So all these amusement parks, they close down early, then they open up again. As we go outside a cafe anyway, we're bringing a Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valleyton, the last place on earth. They open up again to then usher in people that are paying extra money, like $100, $200 and more, to enjoy the spooky night. The thrills and whatnot that happen with the Halloween related. Now I'm on the Busch Gardens website right now, and I am not seeing anything having to do with the Halloween haunt. It's do they not even have? They are related to SeaWorld, so they might call it Hallow Scream. Okay, probably that's what it is. At any rate, Cafe Anyway. If you do go to the haunted thing that they do at SeaWorld, they have a thing called No Boos. No Boo Passes. And what that is you wear the pass and somehow it tells the actors, the scare actors, not to scare you. Not to jump scare you. Which I don't even know why you showed up to this thing and spent $200 in the first place. I think you got to pay extra to get the No Boo Pass. What's the point? It's like if you want to go swimming, but you don't want to get wet. I don't get that. But there's something called Boo-hoo. Boo-hoo appears to have wrongly labeled hundreds of items as sustainable against its own guidelines. An investigation by the iPaper reveals that, according to information on Boohoo's own website, hundreds of items in the range appear to have been inaccurately labeled as meeting the brand's own Ready for the Future criteria, part of Boohoo's flagship sustainability range. Activists have accused Boohoo of greenwashing. An investigation by inews.co.uk reveals polyester trousers and miniskirts are among items included in sustainable range. And that is breaking the rules. Boohoo's own rules. Boohoo is a fashion brand, apparently. So, there you go. No explanation is offered to consumers about why garments presented as having less than 20% of these materials have also been tagged as sustainable. At Greenpeace campaigner Maha Darlington said, Boohoo might try to coat itself in greenwash, but as this investigation shows that green marketing is little more than the thinnest veneer. Aha! And let's see. Anything else? Ethical campaigner Aja. Is it Aja or Aha? Or Asia. There we go. Barber. At Asia Says Hello. Said the use of the Ready for the Future label in these instances means customers are being misled. So, there you go. This whole thing about we're sustainable or we're organic. No, don't believe it. Just be cynical like me and not believe anything you hear. And, alright, now that's all my English stuff. Oh, except Pierre Poilievre. Is that how you say it? Poilievre. Did I do it right? He won in the conservative leadership race. And one of the things that Pierre has done is define the party, the Conservative Party. He's defined the party as his party. The man who's leading this party is someone who got more than 2/3 the support of all the party members. And this is in Canada. He's a pit bull, they say. That's really how he rose within the ranks of the Conservative Party and really fortified his reputation. And he went on the offensive in the House of Commons, according to the Decibel podcast. So there you go. I would also like to tell you, since we were talking a little bit about haunts, because it's that time of year, all these haunted things happening at these amusement parks and other places. I mean, do you want to spend that much money going to places like that? Now, my voice has been attached to a local haunt in Pleasanton for probably the past 9 years. And every year I get a compliment from some people, from someone actually in particular, who says, Mike, you do such a great job with that commercial for that haunted theme park. And I'm thankful to do it. It's fun. I don't get any extra money or, well, occasionally I've been able to go to the park for free, but that's it. At any rate, Cafe Anyway, here are what I think are the best haunts, and I would travel across the country to see these haunts because they look amazing. And why do I know they're amazing? Because a particular YouTuber, I don't want to comment on his weight. I have no room to comment about anyone's weight, as I have probably gained a little. I know I've gained weight because my clothes are much tighter than they used to be. Anyway, Cafe Anyway. I watch a lot of YouTubers that travel around the country and go and check out interesting places and landmarks. I'm completely hooked on a lot of them. And I like the more realistic way they film stuff versus flashy quick edits and all that. Get that away from me. Get that away from me. Don't be all polished. Quit it. No. I really enjoy Carpetbagger. Plus, he reminds me of my friend Kevin, who has been on the show with the Addendum with Kevin segment. I don't know why. The way he talks reminds me of Kevin. But Carpetbagger has gone to a couple of these places, and he's filmed them. And just from seeing from his little videos, and he does the best job at doing haunts, because he gets so scared. And you have to put up with him screaming because he gets really frightened. But he does such a good job filming it and holding on to the camera and getting the whole gestalt of what's going on at these haunts. So the ones that I really was impressed by and the ones that I want to see, so take this with a grain of salt. Take it as you will. But maybe do your own investigation if you would like to go to these. But you're going to have to pay some money and do some traveling to do this. One of them is Not Scary Farm. I went to Not Scary Farm in the 70s. I was just a kid. They were just starting this thing out. And I remember it being really cool. I remember it smelling weird. I can't describe the smell, except it was very synthetic. And I don't know what was going on. at Knott's Berry Farm at the time. Maybe the materials they were using, all the latex and stuff for the different masks and whatnot. It didn't. You could smell it. It didn't smell well. It didn't smell good. And back then, it was pretty rudimentary. You know, Knott's Berry Farm has an Old West theme to it. And so they used a lot of Old West themes in their haunts, in their haunted houses. It was okay. There's a whole fascinating history about Knott's Berry Farm, by the way. And look that up. I believe Yesterworld or Defunctland does a great documentary type style, homegrown, independently done investigation on the history of it. It involved somebody who was like a local radio TV personality who was really mysterious, and he was the figurehead for it, and he attracted a lot of people, and it became this thing that's huge today. Now, the rides they do today, the haunts they do today are amazing. And from what the video I've seen from Carpetbagger last year, it was just unbelievable. Really imaginative. Very crowded. I would not want to go to it. But just what they do looks really, they've evolved to an amazing extent, amazing quality now. But other ones outside of theme parks, and these people do it on their own, Spooky World, they have something called Nightmare New England, and this is in Litchfield, New Hampshire. That looks amazing. Another one, also in New England, or thereabouts, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania's got a lot of amusement parks, if you did not know. They got the, what's it called, Knoebels, and the Hershey Land, Hershey World, or whatever it is, and a couple other places. But they got something called Field of Screams. It's in Mountville, Pennsylvania. That looks fantastic. I think that involves a hayride. And perhaps you've gone on a hayride at one of these places that does like what do they call them? We used to call them an amazing maze. It's a corn maze. But the core's maze as in corn. But the mazes they make out of cornfields. Those are a lot of fun. There is one in between Athens and Decatur near Huntsville, Alabama. In North Alabama. That's amazing. I went to that in 2008, and I still remember it was fantastic. And they did a little hayride too. But this hayride takes you into, it'll like stop in little areas, and all of a sudden something weird will happen, like it'll be all robots attacking you. And in another place it's all zombies. And then there's like a plane that's on fire, and all kind of really they go over the top with this. So that is Field of Screams in Mountville, Pennsylvania. In Monroe, New York, there's something called Pure Terror Scream Park. That looked amazing. And one other one, and this is absolutely wow. This is the top of the top. This is an old school that's been converted into a haunt, into a big haunted house, and it has all these levels, and all these places have actors, scare actors, scream actors, which I don't even know how you do that. You thrash your voice when you're a scream actor, because you're screaming, of course, but you're talking in a weird voice, like "I'm going to get you" or something like that. And you do that enough, and you lose your voice in one night. Or or some cackle, or you talk, you come up with some weird voice sound. You got to do that all night long and scare people and hit things, hit the wall, go, "Ah!" It's all about sound. It's all about an explosion of sound that just throws you off, and it jump scares you. And I get tired of the same old thing. I notice a lot of these haunts, including the local one too. There's always a room that has entrails, or somebody being dissected, or some gross thing like that. There's all the jump scares. It's dark. A lot of places that do the haunts, they make the room really dark, and that just annoys me. Don't make the room dark. Play with light. Play with sound. Play with theming and props and sets, but don't just make it dark. I could do that at home. Hey, lovely lady friend, scare me. Turn the lights out and scare me. What's there to that? And when people just scream at you, these scream actors, and they scream and you can't understand what they're saying, that annoys me too. I'm like, what are you telling me? What's your whole reason? What's your role? What are you doing? What role are you playing? But this school that's absolutely amazing in the haunt world, the haunted houses world, independently done, is the Dent School Home. Dent School Home in Cincinnati, Ohio. Oh my. I saw that on Carpetbagger's website. Not website, but I think he killed his website. He was getting so many views on YouTube, he said, I don't need to do this. Which recently, he did a nice little homage to his daughter, which is cool. She turned 18, and she's been in his videos since he started the channel years ago. So, that's cool. But here, let me see. I'm going to verify that it'd probably be easier if I just looked it up on Bing. But, and he has been, he was in Hayward this year. And do you know what he checked out? He also talked to the guy the guy who was the voice, what's his name? Larry the Cable Guy is the voice of that Tow Mater. And there's a guy named Harley that character is based on. And he's on Route 66. And Carpetbagger is one of the few people that actually got him on film and got him singing. And he is just such a character. And he sings Route 66 on his guitar. Does the best version I've ever seen. Except for Depeche Mode. That version's pretty cool. But Harley is his name. He's been, let's see, it is called, he went to some other interesting places, like Mortem Manor, Scary Train at Kirby Family Farm. Oh, I forgot about that, was pretty cool. Kennywood, Fright Haven, Knoebels has one called Hallow Fun. Dent Schoolhouse, that's right, Cincinnati, Ohio. So it's an odd name, but that's what it is, the Dent Schoolhouse. So there you go. A couple of things to check out in the world of haunted stuff if you want to do that. And I had a couple of interesting stories, like King Charles inherits riches and passes off his own empire, but I think we've touched on enough British stuff. Most Americans see Trump's Mar-a-Lago Trump's MAGA. Mar-a-Lago and MAGA have some of the same letters. There's MAGA in Mar-a-Lago.
That's enough. Put down the mic.
Kinda, if you move the letters around. But most Americans see Trump's MAGA as a threat to democracy, according to Reuters, in a poll they did. Okay. Interesting. So I had those stories, but I'm going to leave all that and go straight to, as we're outside a cafe anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valley, this wonderful person. Hello, Michael Mash, it's Madame Rootabega, and yes, it's very fascinating, all those haunts. Oh! Do you like to go to haunts? Yes. Do you have a friend named Hans? Yes. Do you like him? No. Yeah. There's... No, wait a minute. Most people named Hans are pretty cool. So, hey, it's Hans, everybody. He's a nice guy, usually. Brings food over. There's always a nice Hans. I've never met a bad Hans. Haunted Hans, maybe. Might not be so good. Look who else is here.
Hello there, Mike. This is Valentino, the parking attendant.
And this is Bison Bentley. Do it!
Mike, we want yous to play us something from when you was younger, day.
Yeah, younger. Do you know that? All right, I sure would love to. Last show, I was freaked out because I found out about a couple characters that I created that I completely forgot about back in 91. Was it D. Ford and Junior? Or what was that called? I bet I could find it, maybe. Yes, right here. Let's see. First, we have to click off that. And then we go over here.
People expecting a comedy show here.
Some people call him witty.
Well, welcome to the comedy show.
Oh, that's Dick Cavett.
Topic is lost. As Leonard Nimoy might say, we're in search of a topic.
Oh. All right, let's see. Oh, Tom Petty, 1991. This might be Y97, actually.
Most Music 197 and Mike Matthews at 15 after 5 o'clock. You know, tonight is the Emmys. And which comedy do you think is going to win? Cheers, Designing Women, The Golden Girls, Murphy Brown, or The Wonder Years? I hope either Designing Women or Cheers wins. I don't know. If you would like to tell me which one you think is going to win, give me a call. Our number is 965-9797. Janet Jackson now on Most Music 187.
Oh, Janet Jackson, come back to me. I love Designing Women. I would watch that with my mom. Oh, that's a great mom memory. I've been thinking about my mom. She passed away this year. And yeah, some of the good times we had was watching Designing Women together. Does that mean I'm a woman? Because it's a TV show about a bunch of women all talking about stuff. But, you know, for me, it was instructional. Because I grew up an only child. And, you know, when you're a guy, you need to learn important things about women. And some read books. I watched Designing Women. I don't know, it helped me in some way. Also, the guy from Mannequin was in that, interestingly enough. But, well...
9797. A lot of requests for this. This is Motown Philly from Boys to Men.
Oh, 1991. Dang. Yeah, and I played a little bit on the last podcast, the one that was entitled Uses. Oh, wait, no, that was the podcast before that. The last one was called Intrigue. That's right, because I was intrigued about that character that I had completely forgotten. And what was it?
This Sunday at the corner of Jan's and Lynn Roads in Thousand Oaks. Come on out and polka till you drop. We'll be broadcasting live 12 noon to 3 p.m. here at the home of Grown Up Rock, the new 92.7 FM.
The home of Grown Up Rock, 92.7 FM. Yes, that's the station I worked at in 1991. And yes, that was a commercial for Oktoberfest, which is happening at a lot of places. I know it's not October, but Germans like to celebrate it in September. That's how it works. I forgot why.
Comedy, concerts, children's programming, news, and much, much more. If you live in
Uh-oh. Oh, I guess that I guess I chopped that off.
That's for sure.
Well, I can't seem
Some people call him.
Oh, it was right here.
Coming up, I'd say... But
Here.
Don't forget, we have something called Comedy on the Town with Duke Ford and Jimmy.
Duke Ford and Jimmy. And you know what? I think, and I did a little investigating. I'm sad to say that's all I have of that. That's a lost tape. That's like years from now, people are going to be like, do you have any footage from that Batgirl movie that got burned and destroyed because it had to be a tax write-off for Warner Brothers? No, there's nothing there. How about that one episode of Doctor Who from 1965 and they recorded over the tapes, they destroyed it? Nope, it's gone. Gone. But didn't the IRS, speaking of taxes, didn't the IRS... Oh, that's right. Willie Nelson did an album once called like the IRS tapes because he had to pay off the IRS. So he made an album and basically all the money went straight to the IRS. IRS. And you know, that's why the British are not here in America anymore. I mean, there might be some, but they don't own any of America. I mean, they might own some. They own most of the whole place that... maybe the music industry, because there's a lot of Brits that got popular here, Ed Sheeran and the like. into Elton John. Maybe they own some of the music. They don't. Whatever. Cafe United Artists. They were from England, weren't they? The James Bond. That was big British money in America. Maybe. Well, my point is that we had a character here that I have completely...
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced...
Not yet, Ariel. That I completely forgot about. Wow. D. Ford and Jimmy. So at some point I will uncover that tape, maybe. I have a lot more tapes to go through, but I'm not optimistic. I think it's a lost cause. I will not be able to ever find out more about D. Ford and Jimmy. But I can tell you by combing through the back of my brain that it was sort of a Valentino and Bison Bentley situation, I would bet. But maybe I'll get lucky and stumble upon something from that era. And finally, because you asked, I know you asked, you wanted to hear something from the Santa Fe Cafe days, which was about 10 years after the tape we heard just moments ago, that bit of cassette. In 2003, I was working at a station called Chely. We'll go with this one here. And I was doing a show in the evening called the Santa Fe Cafe. And there was a lot of the characters on at Cafe anyway came from that time. And let's listen to a little bit. We'll go here. Let's see what happens.
The KH Santa Fe Cafe. We'll be right back on 100.7 KHAY.
Oh, man. Country Quiz! That stuff is so good. Now, we're going to give away during the KH Country Quiz. You can play the KH Country Quiz. Be my contestant at 650-KHAY. Toby Keith, we're going to give away Unleash. That's the CD that features the song we just heard from him and Willie, Beer for My Horses. It also has on it, courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue, and Who's Your Daddy? 650-KH.
Speaking of Willie Nelson...
Our contestant is Bonnie from Ventura. Bonnie, let's look at the quiz wall and pick a topic from our three panels. Panel 1 says Kelly Coffee Cake. Panel 2, Dwight Yoakam doesn't like to choke 'em. Panel 3, Steve Holy ain't roly-poly.
Dwight Yoakam.
Dwight Yoakam, Bonnie. Dwight Yoakam wrote the screenplay for A, Titanic, B, My Big Fat Greek Wedding, or C, South of Heaven, West of Hell.
Of Heaven, West of Hell.
You are absolutely correct. Congratulations. Toby Keith CD.
Quit your job and start your career. Make a six-figure income. Survival System Staffing is one of the nation's...
Oh, you know who that was? I can't think of her name now, but I think she became a general manager for a radio station. Yeah, Summer. That's right. Her name was Summer. She actually worked her... That's basically when you're the general manager of a radio station, you're at the top. You're the biggest person on the totem pole, as it were. These expressions. I want to see a man about a horse. I want to see a man about a horse. And if you're at the top of the totem pole or the top of the wedding cake, we'll have to come up with some other way of saying that expression. The top of the pops. The top of the Leaning Tower Pizza. Anyway, if you're at the top, that's what you are as a general manager, and that's what she did. And good for her. I know she spent some time in Flagstaff, Arizona. And why did I mention Arizona just then? Because they have a season called the monsoon season. If you didn't know that. And I didn't realize they did that. Monsoons doesn't seem like a Arizona thing, but that apparently to me, I didn't know that. And I discovered that information today. So thank you for listening to that segment we just had called Let's Go Back with Matthews. And finally, as we wrap up this edition of Mike's Daily Podcast, thank you for listening this far. You will be rewarded, don't worry, because now it is time for Mike Matthews' New Tunes Feud. These two songs are going to fight it out. And you tell me which song you like better. Okay, I'm going to go with Wow. All right, we'll go with this one. As I hear in the back, do you hear Taylor Swift in the background? Maybe it's just me. Okay, this is an odd named act. It's Cream, spelled with a K, and all capitals. and Camden Cox and Idemi. I guess it's Idemi, Idemi. And this song is called Chemistry. Here's a little bit of it. Which, by the way, that kind of reminds me of the artist, The Weeknd. And he has a haunt now at the Universal Studios parks in Hollywood and Orlando. It is a Weeknd theme haunted house. And it's interesting because you go into his brain, apparently, and you see his nightmares. And one of them is his head gets cut off by some crazed fan with a knife, some woman, and then his head is surgically attached to some crazy monster, and he goes and attacks you. And then you see little scenes from his videos, and there's all kinds of craziness. That looked like a really clever haunt as well. But you got to go to Universal Studios and pay like $150 just for a ticket. And if you want the fast pass, apparently it's like $200. So, no. Okay, and since we're in that mode of interesting bands, here's one called Rudy. Rudy is the name. Is it a band or a guy? Maybe it's just a guy. But this is called No Touchin'.
Tropical in slow motion, wanted no one in my zone. Step one, gonna brush my hair. Light up with the Mary right. Step two, buckle up footwear. Strawberry, let the lip gloss shine.
Okay, so which one did you like better? Do you like Cream with Camden Cox and Idemi, or do you like Rudy? You can call me 336MM Daily. 3 plus 3 equals 6. MM as in Mike Matthews Daily, as in what this podcast has been for a couple of days. And now taking us out, it is A-Frame, and she's got also how you can email me and other ways to reach me.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Email Mike now at MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye.
Hey, what was the number for today's podcast? Did we say that? Yes. FF episode 2494, 2494. We're just 6 away from FF episode 2500. Wow! That's a lot of podcasts. You can catch past podcasts at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Take it easy. Take it easy. MikesDailyPodcast.com.